welcome to the second floor classroom space of the Lion Brand Yarn Studio. We're here with Lela Nargi, who's written not one astonishing books, but two that you're here to share with us today. Astonishing Knits. Here, I'm going to read the whole title.
All right.
101 spectacular knitted creations and daring feats. So I just want to say that's promising a lot. That's putting it out there. And this beautiful, gorgeous book, Knitting Around the World. So I want to ask you a little bit about this one first. So first of all, what gave you this idea?
Well, and for both books, actually, I was asked to write them by my publisher in Minnesota, which is kind of great when people come to you and they have sort of a general idea of what they would like, because then you have this framework within which you can kind of go nuts.
And you did.
And I did. And every day I say thank God for the internet, because I don't know how 15 years ago something like this could have come together in such a short time, meaning 9 months.
That's very true. Because there are people from all over. All over.
And people who I found that, there's some people, obviously, every once in a while you get complaints as an author, oh, well, I already knew about these people. But I guarantee that there are people in here that nobody had heard about before, because, I hadn't either. There are people out there doing kind of amazing things, and more than ever with knitting. It just sort of, increases exponentially, it seems, every year.
Tell me a little bit about the giant
people. I'm not sure how, it's a group of artists who go under the name of Gelatin, or Gelatine maybe. And this, as far as I know, might be their first work with knitting. They were, before this, known for some sort of Soho performance art piece where they lived inside a giant box in the gallery for several weeks, and people were invited to come in there and sort of gauge their sanity during gallery hours.
It's not unlike the studio. I'm just kidding.
Not unlike my house some weekends when we're all trapped together and there's no school or work. So they had this idea that they wanted to make this giant rabbit. Their claim is that it's so big that it can be seen from space, which is debatable. But
it can be seen from very far away.
Very far away, and it's on the top of a mountain in Italy, in northern Italy, and people have made sort of these pilgrimages to see this giant rabbit.
It is amazing. Well, you have some amazing stuff in here, and you have some of our dear old friends. You have Robin Love, who we love, who's done a piece for us. You have Anna Harakovic, who's been here, Dinah Tamina. So you also have, it's a lot of our old friends. So it's like visiting some of our old friends, which I adore, and really seeing a lot of new people that you have to see. They're just spectacular. And then this beautiful, stunning museum quality book, Knitting Around the World. So tell me a little bit about, did you get to go around the world?
I wish I had. I had a year to write it, and as it happened, I was writing Astounding Knits at the same time. So,
why would you do that?
Because an author never turns down the opportunity to get paid to write something. That's the ugly, and that's the nitty-gritty truth of it. But also, it was a really fun project to do, although I did sit for several weeks in my apartment surrounded by stacks of files and books, just kind of like holding my stomach and going, what did I do, what did I do, what did I do, like somebody out of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, because it was so overwhelming. And even trying to organize the information so that I could start writing it was an enormous hurdle.
Yeah.
It had to, now it looks so logical, and like, of course this is the way that you would, put the countries together and, sequence it. But when I first started out, there was so much information, and also, I have to say, a lot of misinformation about the history of knitting out there that gets recycled.
Give me one really good one.
Well, I'm not sure I can think of a really great one off the top of my head. I do know that, for example, Richard Rutt writes in his book that fezzes were never knitted, even though it had been written about in some old accounts. And he disputed absolutely that fezzes had ever been knitted. And I happened to track down a photograph in the Cornell archive. And not only did they have the photograph of knitted fezzes, but they had several of the items themselves.
So coffee table, not coffee table, cocktail party trivia,
That's right.
when it comes up naturally in conversation,
Right.
have fezzes been knitted, you all can answer yes. And you can get other amazing tidbits about knitting around the world and throughout time. That's the other thing I loved about this book is, so for those of you that are just history nuts and can't get enough of our craft, there's this one. And for those of you who are just nuts and can't get enough of the amazing things that people do with our craft, there's this one. So I'm so excited for the presentation to hear more. So thank you so much for joining us. And for those of you who can't be with us here in New York, visit your local bookstore and find Astounding knits around the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Patty.
Bye from the Line Brown Yarn Studio.